Hey everybody, what's up? We are back with another stock review, and today we are looking at CVD Equipment Corporation, or CVV is the stock ticker. They are some kind of a company that specializes in chemicals and manufacturing. I don't know exactly what they do, but we will get into it. So, very, very small company. They've been down a lot from their all-time high, so could be some upside, could be a failing company. We'll have to see. But overall, definitely an interesting one to get into. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe. I do these videos just about every day of the week. And let's get into CVD equipment. So getting into CVD here, they do design, development, manufacture of chemical, vapor, deposition, gas control, and other state-of-the-art equipment and process solutions. So if you know what that means, let me know. I have no clue. One thing I will say is that they serve aerospace, military, semiconductor, photo, solar markets. So, I mean, they have a ton of customers, or at least a ton of potential customers, which is pretty good. Market cap is at 25 million, which is very, very low and could possibly be potentially good just because we'll see with their financials if that's a good thing. And let's start moving into that now. So first off, the growth summary. Overall, not great, especially short term over the next few years. Their growth summary looks very rough. We don't start seeing positives until right around the 10-year growth, whatever you want to call it, mark. But not great overall, especially free cash flow negative across the board. So that is something to think about. They are projected to be very, very negative with their financials. So not great there. But anyway, getting into their income statement first off, we will see how they've been doing with their revenues. And so far, year over year, it looks like they are down from 2025. And actually, 2017 was their biggest year, followed pretty closely by 2022 and then 2018. So they haven't really seen a record year in a while, 7 years. So that is something to think about, is why have their sales not been able to recover since then? And also you could see since that year, their net income has barely been positive as well. So overall, if we look at their chart, we can see right around where 2017 was. So right here, this is their all-time chart, by the way. Right around here is where we saw those fairly good financial returns for the company. And then they had a massive drop off, followed by a bit of a recovery. And then in 2023, they saw a pretty big comeback. And since then, they have been down basically right back where they were. So are we at a very strong support area for the company? Possibly. But at the same time, it seems like they have not been able to gain and hold on to any value at all in the past basically 15 years almost. So that is something to think about as well, is why has this company in 15 years not gained any kind of market cap increases at all? I don't know. If you do know, I doubt many people know about this company because it is so small, but if you do know, let me know. But it doesn't make too much sense based on how long it's been to say that this company is solid or still solid. So there's got to be some issues here, which we will most likely see. And starting off with those is their net income being very negative for most of the past 10 years or so, which is not great at all. Looking into their total shares, we're at 6.83, up from basically just up. Not crazy amounts of dilution by any means. It's been diluted pretty slowly over the years, but it is still consistently being diluting, which is always something to take into account. But anyway, moving on to the balance sheet, let's see what we are dealing with here. So first of all, assets are at 35 million total. Now, one thing to think of with this is that is more than their entire market cap. So I like to think of this as a sign that a company is undervalued. And if it is a sign, then that could be a solid short-term buying opportunity. One thing to note is 2024 is not included here. So let's get into the quarters and see what we're dealing with. So assets have come down in the past few years. We're looking at 31 million at the end of 2024. So overall, not great. But still, it is higher than their market cap, so that is something to think about. They have 10 million in cash, almost no debt, which is always a positive. Definitely something to consider at the very least, but overall, not a crazy amount of assets, but even still more than their market cap. And let's keep moving through these here, trying to increase the pace of these videos so they're not like 15, 20 minutes long, but we'll see how I do here. Operating cash flow is definitely an issue, mostly negative, and haven't seen any growth again in the past couple years for the most part, mostly negative. Last quarter was positive, which is something they don't see very often, but even still, doesn't look terrible. Debt, of course, has been minimized, which is always good, and we see free cash flows is also mostly negative. So again, not a great sign here. They're basically just bleeding cash over and over and over again, so not great. Looking into their margins now, they are above the 5-year average of their gross margin. And of course, not including 2024. Let's make it happen. So this is, don't forget, the last 12 months going forward from each quarter. So it is taking an average. And if we look here, their gross margin has actually been steadily decreasing over the past couple quarters. We are higher than we were in 2021, which is something, but overall for the past few years, they've been on the downtrend here, now at 16.7. SG&A to sales is right around the midpoint of what we normally see with them. Operating margin is very negative, and it seems like it is mostly on the lower end of what we've been seeing recently. Same thing with net margin. A little bit, there have been 2 quarters of improvement there, but overall, still not good. I mean, they used to be at 30% in 2021 and 2022. So why they're at negative 18% right now, I don't know, but that does mean a lot of not improvements have happened, basically. Anyway, moving on, debt to equity is going to be basically nothing, which is good. And now let's move into their earnings and see what they've been up to recently. Hopefully we get some kind of results here. And it looks like we might, possibly. So let's see what this says. Usually with these smaller companies, we don't see a lot. So I'm going to read through, let's see here. So there is a decent amount of stuff here. If you would like to pause here and read through this, by all means, go ahead. I'm going to read through the top part here and see what's going on. But feel free to pause here and read through this if you'd like to. So President and CEO commented, "We're pleased third quarter revenue was 8.2 million, representing 31% increase from the prior year, which supported an improvement in operating performance and system gross margins. It is also encouraging that our September 30th backlog was 19.8 million, meaning meaningfully higher than 2023 year-end backlog. So they are seeing much more backlog year over year. So that is something that is pretty good. We're staying on the course on our strategic efforts to build customer relationships while carefully managing our costs to increase our goal of long-term profitability and positive cash flow." So they are focusing on getting profitability and cash flows going and positive, but overall, I mean, is it happening? Sort of, but at the same time, it's been 15 years. Like, come on. You got to get somewhere at some point, and if it's taking this long, I feel like investor confidence is just going to be down the drain. So anyway, moving on through this, this is some product information. Silicon carbide market has remained quite dynamic. Ongoing overcapacity and declining wafer prices. That said, quickly transitioning to stay competitive, making progress with the shipment of our first system during the third quarter. So that is something. From what I could tell, usually like wafers and silicon carbide, so they do make things for the semiconductor industry, especially, and it seems like it is manufacturing materials for that. So that is something that is very good, very high demand. A lot of growth can be seen there. So that is something to consider. But overall, I think this company is really just hoping for some increased demand in their products to hopefully drive some real value growth. Financial performance here, it's basically a lot of the stuff that we've read through already, I think. Not seeing anything too crazy other than that revenue increase is really good. And again, the backlog also very good to have that as well. Other than that, I think everything here is pretty much not as important. If you'd like to read through, please feel free to pause. But anyway, let's see if we can get a valuation here. Now, I believe their EPS is going to be negative for the averages and we won't be able to get a valuation, which yes, it is. So we will not, let's see, PE. Yeah, no PE is showing up here. And also their competitors are very, very small. So I don't think it would be the best to really compare these. But anyway, moving on to their chart once again, looking at the short term, they are in a very clear downtrend. One thing to note is that this is a fairly heavy support area. You could see they bounced along this area earlier, a couple of years ago, 4 years ago, actually, basically. But they bounced off of that area again, and now we're seeing a little bit of a bottom forming. Now, can they go higher from this? Yes, but it would probably require some kind of better results, some kind of investor confidence, because right now 25 million market cap is very little. That's basically nothing. There's no institutional interest in this company at all. So it's really a high risk thing. It's a high risk bet to get into. But if you are interested, feel free to continue doing research on this company. That's basically all I have for today. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see everybody in the next video.